In this video, I'll be giving you a proper understanding on Arcanes, but most importantly, explaining what they do and how they impact your gameplay, and of course, how and where to farm them. What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video coming at you with an Arcane guide. Arcanes are enhancements that give you a massive boon to your damage, survivability, and utility. Arcanes can seem complicated, but they're pretty straightforward to understand, if you know how to read. Until you get to the Theorem and Residual Arcanes, but no worries. Arcanes are split into three categories: Warframe, Weapon, and Operator. Even though they're categorized like this, these Arcanes can affect more than one item. I'll give you examples on how these Arcanes work, but can't tell you how they all work because that will take forever. Arcanes give you buffs and bonuses, and these buffs increase the more you rank the Arcanes up. To rank them up requires you to have several copies of the Arcane at rank 0. You can rank up Arcanes to either rank 5 or rank 3. Rank 5 requires 21 duplicates and rank 3 requires only 10. Alright, let's give you a brief rundown of where we farm all these Arcanes. The Gen 1 Warframe Arcanes are farmed from defeating and capturing EIDOLONs. And since EIDOLONs are in-depth themselves and are gear intensive, I have a dedicated guide series helping you learn how to hunt them down. So do go check those out. But DEs will sometimes release an event where you can grind out these Arcanes easily without hunting EIDOLONs. And the most inefficient, time-wasting method is to go and do the Orphics, which is a railjack mission, and has a lower chance in a more diluted pool of rewards, not including Arcanes. Let's not forget the chances of getting an Arcane is way lower, and of course, random. If you want to know more about this topic, please do go check out Azinvasion's video about the drop rate comparisons between Orphics and EIDOLONs. But let's be honest, for the people who don't want to waste their times, can just buy the Arcanes with Platinum from other players. Faster and easier. Moving on to farming other Arcanes, which also include Warframe, Weapon, and Operator Arcanes, because most of these can be farmed by using your Syndicate standing. The new series of Warframe Arcanes called Molt, along with the new Eternal Amp Arcanes, as well as the new Emergence Operator Arcanes, and the new Cascadia Secondary Arcanes can be farmed by trading in your standing at the vendor in the Chrysalis, called Caballero. The Exodia Arcanes can be bought from Hawk, the ZA vendor in Cetus. There are two unique event ZA Arcanes that include the Exodia Contagion and Exodia Epidemic. These are event-only items at the time being, meaning you either have to wait for Plague Star event or the Knights of Nabrus Halloween event. While still in Cetus, we are now moving on to the Vanilla Magus Operator Arcanes and the Virtuous Amp Arcanes, which can be bought from Quill Onco. Similarly, you can get Gen 2 Magus and Virtuous Arcanes from Little Duck in Fortuna, since she's associated with the Quills. While also in Fortuna, you can visit Rudzood to purchase the Pax Arcanes. As we travel to Deimos, you can do the Isolation Vaults in the Cambion Drift, and these have a chance to drop the Theorem and Residual Arcanes, which are Warframe and Kitgun Arcanes. And now the Weapon Arcanes that you can only farm in Steel Path, and that's by defeating Acolytes. These are the primary and secondary Merciless, Deadhead, and Dexterity Arcanes. And these are all the available Arcanes in the game currently. And this is where to farm all of them. Most of them are easy to get, and some can be quite tedious. Now let me explain the general idea of how they work, starting off with Warframe Arcanes. Warframe Arcanes are unique in a sense that they affect your Warframe and the weapons you have equipped, or are part of the Warframe's ability. For example, Arcane Acceleration and Arcane Strike both give you increased rate of fire and attack speed for the respective weapons when you land a crit. And these Arcanes affect your equipped weapons, and if your Warframe has an exalted weapon, it will affect them as well. All these types of Arcanes are going to be additive to your modded or base value. Now please pay attention. All you have to do is land a crit to activate Acceleration and Strike, meaning when you crit, you will see 2 Arcane buffs. This does not mean you're getting double the attack speed bonus on both weapons. They only affect the weapons that they correspond to. Another example of Warframe Arcanes affecting weapons are Arcane Arachne and Arcane Rage. Both of these are base damage multipliers, meaning they are like Serration without modding for it. They stack additively to each other and additively to Serration and any other base damage mod. However, Arcane Arachne is quite unique. It affects all guns and certain Warframe abilities, and does not affect affect most melees. It does affect Glaive's Throw projectile, Exodia Contagions projectile, and Tenet Agendas and Grigori's projectiles. And Rage only affects your primary and any primary exalted weapon, like Ivara's Artemis Bow. So if you headshot with your secondary and get the Arcane Rage buff, this does not mean you get the 180% base damage on your secondary. There is an interesting arcane though, Arcane Avenger. This gives you 45% crit chance when you take damage. At first glance, this percentage is very low, but it's not a multiplier. It is a flat crit chance increase, meaning it will give a weapon or weapon-like ability with 0% crit chance a whole 45% flat base crit chance. You can easily proc this arcane without physically taking damage by using the aura called Combat Discipline, and your HP can easily be maintained by using Wisps, Reservoirs, or Gloom or any other healing tool. Moving on to Weapon Arcanes. They are pretty straightforward. They do not affect your Warframes whatsoever, only the weapons they are equipped on, meaning all the Exodia, Steel Path, Amp, and the recent Cascadia Arcanes don't work on your Warframes. And just like Warframe Arcanes, any damage increase arcane only gives you base damage, not a final damage multiplier. These arcanes are great as they allow you to free up an entire mod slot on your weapons. It can be confusing, especially with the recent topic of Cascadia Flare. I need a coffee for this because I'm surprised people still don't get this. Cascadia Flare is a secondary arcane that boosts the base damage up to 480% for the secondary that it is equipped on. And to activate this buff, all you have to do is proc a heat status effect on a target, meaning this heat status effect can be procced with any Warframe heat ability or weapon other than your secondary, and you will still get the buff. However, it only affects your secondary that has the arcane. There were some geniuses in the comments section of my Mesa video claiming Cascadia Flare affects regulators.
Voy a la playa, ya subió la marea.
As you can see, it does not. Stop spreading misinformation and please get some help. Another unique set of arcanes are the Operator Arcanes, as they can affect your Operator, Warframe, and weapons. For example, Magus Repair heals Warframes in the area while you're in Void mode, while Elevate allows you to heal your own Warframe by performing a transference. Magus Melt can buff your amps with heat damage, not converting but adding. Think of it like a mod. And Magus Accelerant debuffs enemies, making them take more heat damage, meaning your amps can be crazy DPS weapons. However, Accelerant affects anything that deals heat damage, meaning it can be amazing with your Warframe's equipped weapons. And finally, Theorem and Residual Arcanes, as these two synergize with one another. However, unfortunately, they aren't that great because they are very restrictive and don't have any flexibility. Residual Arcanes are slotted onto your kit gun. They drop a pool or aura of the element that they correlate to, and standing on the pool or aura will synergize with the Theorem Arcanes slotted onto your Warframe to give you a new effect. The idea of two arcanes synergizing with one another is great, but these arcanes are not practical and are very niche. Alright folks, this is the Arcane Guide, and I hope people got a general idea of how they work and how they benefit your builds, and are pretty much a convenience in most cases, as they allow flexibility in modding and offer a decent amount of min-maxing to fully optimize your builds. So if this video helped you out, please do feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe. For more Warframe content, streams, and so much more, do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more, and as always, peace.